Monroe can't see his bride on his wedding day. Not until he sees her in church.
Oh, that's just superstition. Good morning, Mr. Webb. Good morning, George. Mr. Webb, you don't believe in that superstition, do you? There's a lot of common sense in some superstitions, George.
Millions have followed it, George. Mount will be the first to find a fake cut.
How's Emily?
She hasn't waked up yet.
Emily's asleep?
Well, no wonder. We were up till all hours sewing and packing. Now I'll tell you what I'll do. You come in a minute and sit down here and I'll drink this cup of coffee and Mr. Webb. And I'll go upstairs and see if she doesn't surprise you. There's some bacon too, but don't be mad about it.
Well, George, how are you? Oh, fine, I'm fine, Mr. Webb. Mr. Webb, what sense could there be in superstition like that? Well, you see, on her wedding morning, the girl's head ought to be full of clothes and one thing and another. Don't you think that's probably it? Yes, I've never thought of that. The girls ought to be a mite nervous on her wedding day. I wish a fella could get married without all that marching up and down. Every man that's ever lived has felt that way about it, George. But it hasn't been in use. It's the women folk who built the weddings, my boy. For a while now, the women had it all their own. Man looks pretty smart wedding, George. All those good women standing shoulder to shoulder, making sure the knot's tied in a mighty public way. But you believe in it, don't you, Mr. Webb? Oh, yes, oh, yes. Now, don't you misunderstand me, my boy. Marriage is a wonderful thing, wonderful thing. And don't you forget that, George. No, sir. No, sir. Mr. Webb, how old were you when you got married? Well, you see, I'd been in college, and I'd taken a little time to get settled. But Mrs. Webb, she wasn't much older than what Emily is. Oh, age hasn't much to do with it, George. Not compared with, other things. What were you going to say, Mr. Webb? Oh, I don't know. Was I going to say something? George, I was thinking the other night of some advice my father gave me when I got married. Charles, he said. Charles, start out early showing who's boss. He said, best thing to do is to give it order, even if it doesn't make any sense, just so she'll learn to obey. He said, if anything about your wife irritates you, just get up and leave the house. That'll make it clear. He said, and oh yes, he said, never, never let your wife know how much money you have. Never. Mr. Webb, I don't think I took the opposite of my father's advice, and I've been happy ever since. Never ask advice on personal matters. George, are you going to raise chickens on your farm? What? Are you going to raise chickens on your farm? Well, Uncle Luke's never been much interested, but I thought a book came into my office the other day, George, on the philo system of raising chickens. I want you to read it. I'm thinking of beginning in a small way in the backyard, and I'm going to put an incubator.
Charles, are you talking about that old incubator again? I thought you two would be talking about things more worthwhile.
Well, Myrtle, if you want to give the boy some good advice, I'll go upstairs and leave you alone with it.
George, Emily's got to come downstairs and eat her breakfast. She suits me her love, but she does not want to lay eyes on you. Goodbye.
Bye. Well, Myrtle, I guess you don't know about that older superstition.
What do you mean, Charles?
Since the cave